Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I hope you all doing well. My dear students, today we are going to see chapter number 3 is that in genetic process part 13 in previous lecture. We have seen P waves, S waves, those are primary waves and secondary waves. We have seen volcanic eruptions, earthquake, etc. Today we are going to see many landforms and how they are formed. Now coming to the introduction part of this chapter, many landforms are formed due to the internal movements. Many processes occurring on the earth's surface also leads to formation or degradations of the landforms continuously. In this lesson, we will be studying the exogenetic, that is, what is exogenetic? External part of the earth, processes and landform by them. See, external processes occurs because of the forces working on the earth's surface. They are mainly solar energy, gravitational force and kinetic energies associated with the moving objects on the earth's surface. See, whatever we have seen in last chapter, it was endogenetic movement. That means the whatever things is happening inside or in the interior of the earth. Now we will going to learn what are the things which affects the external landform. Now do you know landforms perform on the earth's surface as a result of internal movements are called primary and secondary landforms. For example, continents, mountain, plateaus, plains, etc. Because of the external process like weathering, erosion, transportation and depositions, the primary and the secondary landform give way to the tertiary landform. For example, valleys, sand dunes, delta, U-shaped valley, etc. See, when the something is happen in the internal of the earth, what will happen? We can find the thing, whatever the volcano gets coming from the internal of the earth, then we can see the continents and the plateaus. But whatever happening on the external of the earth, which gives you the valleys, deltas, U-shaped valleys and etc. Understand? Now see the pictures you can see, and you can see some mountains are very plain, some mountains are cracked and fractures. See this in the picture. Now see the given pictures of the physical appearance of the rocks in the each picture. You can see the rocks are broken, fractures and have holes in them. In a picture you can also see the statue has been deformed. Why are the rocks in such condition? Think them about and briefly tell us the reason. You think of us, can you think of it? Discuss the reason, check with the teachers if your reasons are relevant. See why this has happened. If you can see in that your own area, when lots of floods are there, or we face the floods in Bhiwandi also, things are damaged, the transportation facilities has affected, the roads are broken and you can see the holes in the roads. So these are the things, when the floods are there, earthquake are there or volcanic eruptions is there, this will affect the external part of the earth. Now see the picture. See, this is the statue, chemical weathering. When the weather has a chemical effect, this things are happening in the statue. Now this is because of these, see the chemical weathering, biological weathering. When the animals do such thing, when animals are found, you can see when you are in your house, if you see the ants, the bunch of ants who's doing cultivation in or whatever they are doing in that part, what will happen? The sand will coming out from that part. So these are the things. Now because of the high range of flood or the chemical weathering, the trees leave their places. The one who's the rocks which are holding the trees, they leave their places. See, geographical explanation. Breaking or weakening of the rocks in the natural phenomena. It is called as weathering. Weathering can be three types: mechanical weathering, that is physical, chemical and biological. See, what is mechanical? Or mechanic is like you're doing the physical thing in the atmosphere. Then chemical thing, that atmosphere is having the chemical effect. And then biological, the animals do this kind of you know interference in the weathering. This called physical, chemical, and biological. In arid climates, mechanical weathering is dominant, while in humid climates, chemical weathering is more effective. Biological weathering occurs because of the living organism. Obviously, the biological thing, then animals who lives in all the forest area, and chemical which is released from the companies or from chimneys, and obviously the physical interference in the weathering we are cutting off the trees, or these are the things, so this is affect the weathering. Then geography, you will notice that just as we can remove each and every outer layer of the onion, similarly in nature rocks undergo such a process. The opposed part of rocks heats more, while the inner parts of the comparatively cooler. As a result, the outer layers of the rocks fall apart from the main rocks. This is called explosions of the earth. See this picture. This seems like onion. When you cut the onion, you can remove the upper part. Then it's going layers. So this is the thing. When the upper part is hot, they leave the layers. Mechanical weathering mainly occurs because of the following reason: temperature, frost, crystal growth, release of pressure, and water. See, first is temperature. The minerals in the rock expand because of the heat and contract when the temperature decreases. Due to continuous contracting and expanding, tensions develop in the rock particles. Each minerals react differently to the temperature. Some minerals expand more while others do not expand as much. Why the temperature is hit? Because of the minerals. If the minerals in the rocks are very less, this will heat up the temperature. And if it is in a good condition, the minerals are good in sound, they can release the temperature. Some minerals expand more while others do not expand as much. Consequently, the tension formed in the rocks also increase and decrease. So this will help in increasing temperature and the decreasing temperature. As a result, cracks develop in the rocks and they break. In area where the diurnal range of temperature is higher, weathering of this type is common in the hot desert area. See, Rajasthan is a big example of desert area, and it is very hot. Even near the Gujarat, Rajasthan, and these all are very hot area, and you can find the desert there also. Frost. You know that the volume of the water increase when it freezes. In areas where the temperature drop below 0 Celsius for the quite some time, the water accumulated in the crack and creeps in the crack rocks freeze. Its volume increase. This leads to the tension in the rock and they shatter. And you can see the cooler area like Kashmir and Manali, where you can feel the snowfall. When snow is they are in a thick function or thick form. What happens? The rocks are attached to each other. But when they started melting, what happened? They leave the rocks and the rocks get cracked. Now, crystal growth. In rocky coast, waves hit and the sea sleeps. The water in the alkaline, some water droplets hits the crack in the rocks. In this alkaline water, the stable material in the rocks get dissolved. This leads to the formation of a small thins in the rocks. See, you can see the picture. In this, you can find the rocks in the holes in the rocks. This is the effects of solution. Alkaline water gets stored in these holes. Because of heat, this water turns into the water vapor, and only crystal of alkaline material remain in the rocks. Crystal occupy more space. This causes tension in the rock. Holes are formed in the rocks and it looks like a honeycomb. See, have you seen that honey web? What's that called? See, honey web. So what happened? You can see because of this crystal growth, you can see the holes in the rock. So now we will going to learn next points in the next lecture. See you then.